Hello everyone. Welcome back to Naruto Fix. Today we have another interesting what if Naruto story, which is what if Naruto had both yin and yang Kurama from birth. Part 1. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Now, without wasting any time, let's begin. The night Naruto Uzumaki was born, the village of Konoha was already fighting for its life. The nine-tailed fox had escaped. Its enormous chakra covered the sky like a living storm. Buildings were destroyed, shinobi were dying. The screams of civilians echoed through the streets while the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, fought desperately to protect the village. But something was different that night. Something Minato had never planned for. Something even the Nine Tails itself had not expected. Inside the Hokage's residence, Kushina Uzumaki lay exhausted after giving birth to her son. Naruto. Her tiny baby slept peacefully in her arms. Kushina smiled through her tears. Naruto. Minato knelt beside her. You did it. Kushina looked at him. He's so small. Minato smiled. But he'll grow. Kushina touched Naruto's cheek. I want him to grow up happy. Quote. Minato's smile faded. Outside, another explosion shook the village. Kushina's expression changed. Kurama. Minato nodded. We don't have much time. The nine tails had been ripped from Kushina. Its chakra was running wild. Minato knew that the only way to stop the beast was to seal it inside Naruto. But there was a problem. The nine tails chakra was too enormous. Even half of it would be dangerous for a newborn. Minato made his decision. He would divide Kurama into two halves. Yin and yang. The yin half would be sealed into Naruto's body. The yang half would be sealed separately. That had been the original plan. But when Minato performed the Reaper Death Seal, something unexpected happened. Kurama resisted. The nine tails roared. You think you can divide me? Minato struggled. The Shinigami's power began separating the fox's chakra. Yin, yang. The two halves started moving apart. But suddenly, the seal reacted. A strange golden light appeared around Naruto. Minato froze. What? Kushina looked toward the baby. Naruto's tiny body began glowing. The yin chakra was pulled toward him. Then the yang chakra followed. Minato's eyes widened. No. He tried to stop it. But it was already too late. Both halves of Kurama were being drawn toward Naruto. The nine tails roared. Minato. The entire room shook. Minato desperately tried to maintain control. Naruto. The yin chakra entered the seal. Then the yang chakra followed. Two massive streams of chakra collided inside the newborn. For a moment, everything became silent. Then Naruto opened his eyes. His tiny blue eyes glowed with an unfamiliar golden light. The seal appeared on his stomach. But it wasn't the seal Minato had planned. It was something completely different. Two interlocking spirals. One dark, one bright. Yin and yang. Both halves of Kurama had been sealed inside Naruto. Minato stared in disbelief. I couldn't divide them. Kushina looked at Naruto. What does that mean? Minato looked at his son. It means. He swallowed. Naruto has the complete nine tails. Kushina's eyes widened. The entire Kurama. Minato nodded. Both yin and yang. Kushina smiled weakly. Then he'll be strong. Minato didn't smile. Too strong. Inside Naruto's mind, darkness stretched endlessly. Two enormous presences awakened. One was surrounded by dark purple chakra. The other by brilliant golden chakra. Both halves of Kurama opened their eyes. The yin half spoke first. So this is our prison. The yang half growled. A human child. The two halves looked at one another. For the first time in history, they were together inside one vessel. Then Naruto appeared between them. A tiny child. He looked around. Where am I? The yin half stared. The yang half stared. Neither knew what to say. Naruto smiled. Are you my friends? The nine tails remained silent. The yang half growled. We are not your friends. Naruto tilted his head. Then what are you? We are the nine tails. Naruto smiled. Kurama. Both halves froze. The name struck something deep inside them. The yin half looked away. The human who sealed us gave us that name. Naruto sat down. I like it. The Yang half growled. You should fear us. Naruto shook his head. Why? We are monsters. Naruto looked at them. No. Both halves stared. Naruto smiled. You look lonely. For the first time in centuries, the Nine Tails didn't know how to respond. Outside, Minato was dying. He had used too much chakra. Kushina was barely conscious. Minato looked at Naruto one last time. Naruto. He touched his son's forehead. Become strong. Kushina smiled. But not just strong. Minato looked at her. Become kind. Kushina touched Naruto's cheek. Make people believe in you. Naruto's tiny hand grabbed her finger. Kushina began crying. I love you. Minato smiled. We both do. Then their chakra disappeared. Naruto was left alone. A newborn child carrying the complete power of Kurama. The third Hokage arrived shortly afterward. He looked at the baby. He knew what had happened. The entire Nine Tails. Hiruzen's expression became complicated. He had expected Naruto to carry only one half. Instead, the child carried both. Hiruzen whispered, this child will change everything. But the village didn't know the truth. They only knew that Naruto was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. And as the years passed, their fear turned into hatred. Naruto grew up alone. But unlike the original Naruto, something inside him was different. His chakra was enormous, far beyond what anyone expected. Even as a baby, his chakra would sometimes leak out. Whenever he cried, objects around him shook. When he became angry, the windows of his apartment cracked. When he had nightmares, golden chakra surrounded his body. And when he smiled, the chakra disappeared. Hiruzen noticed the pattern. Naruto's emotions were directly connected to Kurama. So he began monitoring the boy. But Hiruzen didn't understand one important thing. Kurama wasn't trying to hurt Naruto. The two halves were learning to live with him. At age 3, Naruto first entered the mindscape consciously. He found himself standing before the enormous gate. Behind it were two cages. The Yin Kurama sat in one. The Yang Kurama sat in the other. Naruto looked at them. Why are you separated? The Yin half answered. Because the seal was designed that way. Naruto frowned. But you're both Kurama. Yang Kurama looked toward him. Yes. Then why not stay together? Neither answered. Naruto walked closer. Are you brothers? Quote. The two halves stared at each other. Yang Kurama laughed. We are the same being. Naruto smiled. Then you're brothers. Yin Kurama sighed. Humans are strange. Naruto sat before them. Can you teach me? Quote. Teach you what? How to use chakra. Yang Kurama's eyes narrowed. Why? Because people hate me. Silence. Naruto continued. I want to become strong. Yin Kurama looked at him. Strong enough to make them fear you. Quote. Naruto shook his head. No. Then what? Naruto smiled. Strong enough that I don't have to be afraid of them. The two halves exchanged glances. That answer surprised them. Yang Kurama slowly stood. Come closer. Naruto walked toward him. Yang Kurama lowered his enormous head. Put your hand here. Naruto touched his fur. Golden chakra flowed into Naruto. He gasped. His entire body became warm. Yin Kurama watched. Now try mine. Naruto touched the yin half. Dark purple chakra flowed into him. Instead of fighting the golden chakra, it balanced it. Naruto's eyes widened. He could feel both sides. Two opposite energies. Yin, yang, shadow, light, creation, destruction. Naruto smiled. They feel different. Yang Kurama nodded. Yang is life. Yin continued. Yin is spirit. Naruto looked between them. Can I use both? The two halves smiled. Yes. That was the beginning. Naruto started training with Kurama. Not physical training. Chakra training. Kurama taught him how to sense chakra. How to circulate it. How to compress it. How to release it. Naruto learned faster than any academy student. At age 5, he could already create a basic chakra cloak. But he discovered something even more incredible. When he combined yin and yang chakra, his body could heal almost instantly. A small cut disappeared within seconds. A bruise vanished. A broken branch could be restored if he infused it with enough balanced chakra. Kurama explained the reason. Yin gives form, Yang gives life. Quote, together, Naruto stared at the branch. They create. Naruto's eyes widened. Creation. The yin half nodded. Be careful. Why? Because this power is not ordinary. Naruto looked at his hands. How powerful is it? Young Kurama smiled. Powerful enough to change the world. Naruto didn't fully understand, but he would. Years later, at the academy, Naruto was considered a failure. He failed the clone technique repeatedly. His classmates laughed. Naruto can't even make a clone. He's hopeless. Naruto scratched his head. Inside his mind, Young Kurama laughed. You are making a fool of yourself. Naruto frowned. Shut up. Quote, Yin Kurama added. You could easily perform that technique. I know. Then why don't you? Naruto smiled. Because I don't want people to know how much chakra I have. Kurama became silent. Then Yang laughed. You're learning. Naruto wasn't the same Naruto anymore. He still loved pranks. He still shouted. He still acted immature. But underneath that personality was someone who understood the importance of hiding his power. He had two halves of Kurama inside him. And both were constantly teaching him. At age 6, Naruto discovered something terrifying. He could use chakra from both halves simultaneously. One hand would glow golden, the other purple. When he brought them together, a sphere of compressed chakra appeared. Kurama immediately shouted, Stop! Naruto jumped. The sphere disappeared. What? Don't do that. Why? Because you don't understand what you created. Quote, Naruto looked confused. What was it? Yin Kurama answered. An unstable combination of yin-yang chakra. Naruto stared. Could it hurt someone? Yang Kurama laughed. It could destroy a building. Naruto's eyes widened. Really? Yes. Naruto smiled. That's amazing. Kurama growled. That's terrifying. Naruto laughed. But he didn't use the technique again. Not yet. He needed control. And he knew it. At age 7, Naruto began experimenting with elemental chakra. Fire, wind, water, earth, lightning. The results shocked him. He could use all 5 basic nature transformations. Not because he naturally possessed all 5 affinities, but because Kurama's chakra gave him an extraordinary amount of adaptability. Yin and Yang chakra allowed him to stabilize the transformations. One day, Naruto combined earth and water. The ground beneath his feet moved. A small wooden sprout emerged. Naruto froze. Kurama froze. The tiny sprout grew into a branch. Naruto stared. Wood release. Yin Kurama spoke quietly. No. Naruto looked at him. What do you mean? That isn't normal wood release. The branch continued growing. Yang Kurama stared. Your yin-yang chakra is creating life. Naruto touched the branch. Then I can use wood release. Perhaps. Naruto smiled. For years, the Senju bloodline had been associated with wood release. But Naruto wasn't a Senju. He was an Uzumaki. And yet, the complete Kurama inside him had given him something even more unusual. The ability to manipulate yin-yang chakra at a level no Jinchuriki had ever reached. At age 8, Naruto's training became serious. He created shadow clones. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Kurama helped him distribute chakra evenly. Naruto learned to use shadow clones not merely for fighting, but for training. One Naruto practiced taijutsu. Another practiced chakra control. Another studied history. Another practiced nature transformation. Another learned sealing. When the clones disappeared, all their knowledge returned to the original. Within months, Naruto's growth became exponential. Hiruzen began noticing. The Hokage watched Naruto from afar. One day, he saw Naruto perform a technique that made him freeze. Naruto placed his hand against the ground. A massive wooden wall rose from the earth. Hiruzen's eyes widened. Impossible. Naruto looked at the wall. He hadn't expected it either. He smiled. Cool. Hiruzen stared. That technique reminded him of one person. Hashirama Senju. But Naruto's wood release wasn't the same. It was smaller. More unstable. Yet it was clearly related. Hiruzen immediately realized something. Naruto wasn't simply a Jinchuriki. His chakra was evolving, and if he continued, he could become stronger than any shinobi alive. But there was a problem. The village was beginning to notice. One evening, Danzo stood in the darkness. A root shinobi knelt before him. Naruto Uzumaki's chakra has increased dramatically. Danzo's eye narrowed. How much? Enough to rival a cage. Danzo became silent. At what age? 8. Danzo's expression changed. 8. Yes. Danzo looked toward the window. Then the boy cannot remain uncontrolled. The root shinobi bowed. Should we capture him? Danzo shook his head. Not yet. Why? Because if the village discovers that Root is interested in the Jinchuriki, the Hokage will interfere. Quote. Danzo paused. Instead, his voice became cold. We will create a situation where Naruto comes to us. Meanwhile, Naruto was sitting on the roof of his apartment. The moon was bright. Kurama appeared beside him in his mind. Naruto. Something is wrong. Naruto opened his eyes. What? The chakra surrounding you. Naruto frowned. What about it? Someone has marked you. Naruto's expression changed. A seal. Yes. Quote. Yin Kurama stepped forward. Someone has been observing you. Naruto stood. Who? We don't know. Naruto looked toward the village. For the first time, the carefree smile disappeared from his face. Root. Kurama stared. You know about them. I've heard rumors. Young Kurama growled. They are dangerous. Naruto nodded. I know. Then a strange sensation appeared. Someone was standing behind him. Naruto turned. Nothing. He looked around. Still nothing. Then a voice came from the darkness. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes narrowed. A masked root shinobi appeared on the rooftop. You will come with us. Quote. Naruto smiled. No. The shinobi immediately attacked. Naruto disappeared. The root operative's eyes widened. Naruto appeared behind him. Too slow. He struck the shinobi's shoulder. The man crashed into the rooftop. 3 more root shinobi appeared. Naruto sighed. Seriously. They surrounded him. One threw kunai. Naruto moved between them. Another attacked with a sword. Naruto blocked. The impact pushed him backward. He smiled. Okay. Golden chakra began covering his body. The root shinobi froze. What? Purple chakra appeared over the golden cloak. The 2 colors merged. Naruto's eyes changed. One eye glowed golden. The other carried a darker hue. The air around him became heavy. Inside Naruto's mind, both halves of Kurama stood together. Young Kurama smiled. Show them. Yin Kurama nodded. But don't lose control. Naruto raised his hand. A chakra arm formed behind him. Then another. Then another. The root shinobi stepped backward. Monster. Naruto's expression became cold. No. He looked at them. I'm the one you should have left alone. Quote. The chakra arms slammed into the rooftop. The root shinobi were thrown away. Naruto didn't kill them. He simply knocked them unconscious. Then he heard clapping. Slow. Deliberate. Naruto turned. A man stood on a nearby building. Bandaged arm. Covered eye. Cold expression. Danzo Shimura. Naruto stared at him. So you're the one. Danzo looked at the boy. You're stronger than expected. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Why are you watching me? Quote. Danzo smiled faintly. Because you're dangerous. Naruto stepped forward. No. His chakra intensified. I'm dangerous because people like you keep treating me like a weapon. Danzo's expression changed. For the first time, he realized something. Naruto wasn't afraid. Not even slightly. And behind Naruto's eyes, there was something ancient. Something powerful. Something that made Danzo remember the stories of Hashirama Senju. Danzo whispered. The 9 tails. Naruto smiled. Both halves. Danzo's eyes widened. Naruto raised his hand. And they're not yours. Danzo immediately realized the situation had changed. The Jinchuriki he thought he could manipulate. Was already learning to control the 9 tails. And not just one half. Both. Naruto looked at him. This village belongs to everyone. Danzo's face became cold. That kind of idealism will get you killed. Quote. Naruto smiled. Maybe. He turned away. But I'll still try. Danzo watched him disappear. His fists tightened. That boy, he looked toward the Hokage monument, is going to become a problem. Far away, inside Naruto's mind, Kurama smiled. He's afraid of you. Naruto sat down. Good. Kurama looked at him. Don't become arrogant. I'm not. Kurama laughed. You sound exactly like someone who is. Naruto smiled. Then suddenly, the entire mindscape shook. Both halves of Kurama turned toward the darkness. Naruto's smile disappeared. What was that? Kurama's eyes narrowed. Something entered your seal. Naruto stood. What? Quote. A shadow appeared in the distance. A chakra signature Naruto had never felt before. Kurama's tails moved violently. Kurama growled. That's impossible. Naruto stared. What? Kurama whispered. Someone is trying to break into your mind. The shadow moved closer. A single eye appeared in the darkness. Naruto prepared himself. Then a voice echoed through the mindscape. You have both halves of the 9 tails. Quote. The figure stepped forward. And yet, the eye narrowed. You still don't understand what you truly carry. Naruto clenched his fists. Who are you? The figure smiled. You'll learn soon enough. Quote. Kurama suddenly roared. Get out. The entire mindscape exploded with chakra. Naruto was thrown backward. The shadow disappeared. Silence returned. Naruto slowly stood. He looked toward Kurama. Who was that? Quote. Neither half answered. Naruto's expression became serious. Kurama. Kurama looked away. That chakra. What about it? Kurama finally spoke. We've felt it before. Naruto froze. Where? The 9 tails looked at one another. Then Kurama whispered. From the night your parents died. Naruto's eyes widened. What? Kurama continued. The person who attacked Konoha that night. Naruto stared. Wasn't alone. And suddenly, Naruto realized that the night of his birth held a secret far deeper than anyone had ever told him. The complete 9 tails was only the beginning. Someone else had been involved. Someone who knew about Yin and Kurama. Someone who had been waiting for Naruto to grow stronger. And now, that person had finally noticed him. Naruto looked toward the darkness. His eyes hardened. Then I'll find you. The 2 halves of Kurama stood behind him. For the first time, neither of them saw Naruto as a prison. They saw him as their partner. And together, the 3 of them prepared for the future. A future where Naruto would not simply become the strongest shinobi in Konoha. He would become the first Jinchuriki to completely unite Yin and Kurama. But before that could happen, Naruto would have to survive the first enemy who knew exactly how dangerous his power could become. Danzo Shimura. And Danzo had already begun his plan. Writing. The following morning, Konoha woke beneath a perfectly clear sky. The village looked peaceful. Children walked toward the academy. Shinobi moved across rooftops. Shopkeepers opened their stores. The streets were filled with ordinary sounds. But Naruto knew that something had changed. Someone had entered his mind. Someone had recognized the presence of both halves of Kurama. And worst of all, Kurama had recognized that chakra. Naruto sat silently on the roof of his apartment, staring toward the Hokage monument. Inside his mind, both halves of Kurama were unusually quiet. That alone told Naruto how serious the situation was. You're hiding something. Neither fox answered. Naruto sighed. I hate when you two do that. Kurama finally opened one eye. You wouldn't understand. Then explain it. Kurama looked toward him. Some chakra signatures are difficult to forget. Why? Because they belong to people who should have died. Naruto froze. What does that mean? The 2 halves exchanged a glance. Kurama spoke. The night you were born. Naruto leaned forward. There was another presence. Who? We don't know. Naruto frowned. You said you recognized the chakra. We recognize the nature of it. What nature? Quote. Kurama's expression became darker. Something that could enter seals. Naruto's eyes widened. Like a sealing technique. No. Then what? Something older. Naruto remained silent. Kurama continued. Your father believed the attack on Konoha was caused by a single masked shinobi. Naruto's heart began beating faster. Wasn't it? Not entirely. Naruto stood. Tell me everything. Young Kurama lowered his head. The masked man controlled us. I know. No. Young Kurama's eyes narrowed. You don't. The fox's voice became heavy. He didn't simply control our body. Naruto stared. He reached our consciousness. Quote. Naruto's expression changed. Someone entered Kurama's mind. Yes. How? We don't know. Naruto clenched his fists. Then why didn't Minato know? Because the technique was hidden. Naruto looked toward the darkness. What happened after? The masked man disappeared. And the other presence? Silence. Yin Kurama finally answered. It remained. Naruto's eyes widened. Where? Inside the seal. Naruto stopped breathing for a moment. Inside? My seal. Both halves nodded. Naruto immediately closed his eyes and searched his mindscape. The enormous gates stood before him. Kurama's two halves were behind them. But now Naruto noticed something he had never noticed before. There was a third layer to the seal. A faint black line ran across the floor. Naruto crouched. What is this? Yin Kurama stared. We don't know. Naruto touched the line. The entire mindscape shook. A voice whispered. Finally. Naruto immediately pulled his hand away. Kurama roared. Don't touch it. Naruto stepped backward. What is that? Young Kurama moved toward the barrier. Something has been sleeping inside your seal. Quote. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Since my birth. Yes. Naruto looked at the black line. Then why hasn't it attacked? Yin Kurama answered. Perhaps it was waiting. For what? The nine tails stared at Naruto. For you to become strong enough. Naruto's face hardened. Then I'll destroy it. Young Kurama laughed. That's the spirit. Yin Kurama shook his head. Don't underestimate it. Naruto looked at him. Why? Quote. Because if it has survived inside your seal for this long. Yin Kurama's eyes narrowed. It may know more about you than you know about yourself. Naruto opened his eyes. He returned to reality. He immediately decided on one thing. He needed answers. And there was only one person in Konoha who might know enough about seals to help him. Hiruzen Sarutobi. Naruto walked toward the Hokage tower. This time, he didn't sneak in. He walked through the front entrance. The guards looked surprised. One of them stopped him. Naruto, I need to see the Hokage. Do you have an appointment? No. The guard sighed. Then, let him through. Quote. Hiruzen's voice came from the hallway. Naruto looked up. The third Hokage stood at the end of the corridor. Come. Naruto followed him. Inside the office, Hiruzen closed the door. You seem troubled. Quote. Naruto looked at him. I need to ask you about my seal. Hiruzen's expression changed. Your seal? Yes. What happened? Naruto hesitated. He couldn't explain everything. Not yet. Instead, he asked, was my father's seal completely finished when I was born? Hiruzen stared at him. Why are you asking? Because I think there is something inside it. Hiruzen's eyes widened slightly. What makes you think that? Quote. Naruto answered carefully. I can feel it. Hiruzen walked toward Naruto. Show me. Naruto revealed a small amount of chakra. Golden chakra appeared around his body. Then purple chakra mixed with it. Hiruzen immediately recognized something unusual. Both. His eyes widened. Both halves. Naruto nodded. Hiruzen took a deep breath. I knew it. Naruto frowned. You knew. Hiruzen looked away. Minato's seal changed at the last moment. Quote. What do you mean? The seal was designed to contain one half of Kurama. Naruto waited. But when the sealing technique was completed, both halves were pulled into you. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Why? Quote. We don't know. Then why didn't anyone tell me? Hiruzen sighed. Because we were afraid. Of me. Of what you might become. Naruto's expression became cold. Hiruzen continued. Your chakra was unlike anything we had ever seen. Quote. He walked toward the window. Even as a newborn, your chakra reserves were enormous. Naruto looked at his hands. That's why everyone feared me. Hiruzen nodded. But there was something else. What? Quote. Hiruzen turned. Your seal. Naruto became alert. What about it? It wasn't identical to the seal Minato intended to use. Naruto froze. Then who changed it? Hiruzen shook his head. I don't know. Quote. Silence filled the room. Naruto slowly whispered. Someone changed my seal. Perhaps. Someone who wanted both halves of Kurama inside me. Hiruzen's expression became serious. That is possible. Naruto's mind raced. The mysterious chakra. The shadow inside his seal. The masked man. Danzo. The night of his birth. Everything was connected. Then Hiruzen spoke. There is another possibility. Naruto looked at him. What? Quote. Your father may have changed it intentionally. Naruto shook his head. No. Why are you certain? Because I know my father. Hiruzen stared. You never met him. Naruto's expression softened. Maybe not. Quote. He touched his stomach. But I've felt his chakra. Hiruzen remained silent. Naruto looked at him. He wouldn't put something dangerous inside me. Hiruzen didn't respond. Naruto turned toward the door. Thank you, Naruto. He stopped. Hiruzen spoke quietly. Whatever is inside your seal. Naruto looked back. Do not investigate it alone. Naruto smiled. I won't. But both of them knew that was probably a lie. Outside the tower, Naruto looked toward the rooftops. Someone was watching him. He could feel it. Naruto smiled. Let's see who moves first. Meanwhile, beneath Konoha, Danzo stood inside the root headquarters. Several masked shinobi surrounded a table. On it lay a detailed report. Naruto Uzumaki. Age. 8. Chakra. Extreme. Jinchuriki. Complete 9 tails. Special abilities. Unknown. Potential. Catastrophic. Danzo read the final line. Subject may possess abilities resembling Hashirama Senju. His eye narrowed. Explain. A root operative stepped forward. Naruto has demonstrated a technique that causes plant growth through chakra. Quote. Danzo became silent. Would release. Not confirmed. Danzo stared at the report. If he can truly use would release. His fingers tightened. Then the boy possesses 2 of the greatest powers in shinobi history. Quote. The operative asked, should we capture him? Danzo shook his head. Not yet. Why? Because capturing him would make the Hokage our enemy. Danzo paused. But manipulating him, a cold smile appeared, would be much easier. The root operative bowed. What is your plan? Danzo pointed toward the report. His weakness. The operative looked confused. He doesn't seem to have one. Danzo shook his head. Every child has one. He pointed toward another page. Loneliness. The operative understood. You want to manipulate his desire for recognition. Exactly. Danzo stood. Create a situation where Naruto believes the village is abandoning him. Quote. And then, we offer him protection. Danzo's smile became darker. He will come willingly. But Danzo had made one mistake. He had assumed Naruto was still the lonely, emotionally unstable child everyone believed him to be. He didn't know about Kurama. He didn't know about Naruto's training. He didn't know about the 2 voices inside Naruto's mind. And he certainly didn't know that Naruto had already begun learning how to detect manipulation. Several days later, the plan began. Naruto returned from the academy to find his apartment door open. He stopped. His eyes narrowed. The room looked normal, but something was wrong. Naruto slowly entered. His senses expanded. Nothing. Then he noticed a small paper on the table. He picked it up. Meet me at the old training ground tonight. No name. Naruto smiled. A trap. Inside his mind, young Kurama laughed. Obviously. Yin Kurama added. Don't go. Naruto folded the paper. I'm going. Both halves stared. Why? Because whoever left it wants me there. Young Kurama grinned. And you want to know who? Exactly. Quote. That night, Naruto entered the forest. He deliberately allowed his chakra signature to remain visible. He wanted the enemy to know he had arrived. A few minutes later, 3 root shinobi appeared. Naruto stopped. That's disappointing. One of them spoke. Naruto Uzumaki. Yes. Come with us. No. You have been ordered to cooperate. By whom? Silence. Naruto smiled. Danzo. The root shinobi attacked. Naruto moved. The first shinobi threw shuriken. Naruto dodged. The second attacked from behind. Naruto spun and blocked. The third appeared above him. Naruto formed a hand seal. Shadow clone jutsu. Dozens of Narutos appeared. The root shinobi froze. Then the clones attacked. Within seconds, the three operatives were overwhelmed. But they were not alone. More root shinobi appeared. 10, 20. Naruto sighed. You really brought everyone. Quote. One root operative shouted. Suppress the 9 tails. Sealing chains erupted from the ground. Naruto's eyes widened. They prepared for Kurama. The chains wrapped around his arms. His chakra was immediately restricted. The root shinobi rushed toward him. Naruto closed his eyes. Inside his mind, both halves of Kurama stood. Young Kurama grinned. Now. Naruto nodded. Now. Golden chakra erupted. The chains cracked. Purple chakra followed. The chains shattered. Naruto opened his eyes. The root shinobi stopped. 2 layers of chakra surrounded Naruto. The first was golden. The second was deep purple. His whisker marks darkened. His eyes changed. He didn't enter a full transformation. Instead, he created something new. A balanced chakra cloak. Yin and yang. Kurama's chakra no longer fought his own. It flowed alongside it. Naruto disappeared. One root shinobi was struck. Another flew into a tree. A third tried to escape. Naruto appeared in front of him. You're not leaving. The shinobi froze. Naruto placed 2 fingers against his forehead. A burst of chakra knocked him unconscious. Within seconds, the forest became silent. Naruto stood among the defeated shinobi. He wasn't even breathing heavily. Young Kurama laughed. That was fun. Naruto sighed. Don't encourage me. Yin Kurama looked toward the darkness. Someone else is here. Naruto immediately turned. A figure stepped from the trees. Danzo. Naruto's eyes narrowed. You. Danzo looked at the defeated root members. You've improved. Naruto smiled. Thanks. Quote. Danzo looked at the chakra surrounding him. So the rumors were true. Naruto didn't answer. Danzo continued. You possess complete Kurama. Yes. Both yin and yang. Yes. And you can control it. Quote. Naruto smiled. Starting to. Danzo's expression became colder. Then you understand why the village fears you. Naruto's smile disappeared. No. Danzo stepped forward. They fear what you could become. Quote. Naruto shook his head. They fear what they don't understand. Danzo stared at him. You believe you can control this power forever? No. Naruto's answer surprised him. I don't want to control Kurama forever. Quote. Danzo frowned. I want to understand him. Danzo's expression changed. Understand. Naruto nodded. He's not a weapon. Danzo laughed. That's childish. Naruto's chakra intensified. Maybe. He stepped forward. But it's my choice. Danzo prepared to fight. Then suddenly, a massive chakra presence appeared. Both halves of Kurama roared inside Naruto's mind. Naruto froze. The black line in his seal had begun glowing. Danzo noticed Naruto's expression. What happened? Naruto didn't answer. The entire forest shook. A dark symbol appeared on Naruto's stomach. Danzo's eye widened. That seal. Naruto looked down. What is happening? Quote. Kurama shouted. Naruto. The black mark began spreading. Yin Kurama's voice became urgent. Do not let it reach the center. Naruto panicked. How do I stop it? Use both. Naruto gathered his chakra. Golden energy erupted from one side. Purple energy from the other. He forced them together. The black mark resisted. Something began pushing outward from inside his seal. A hand. Then an arm. A dark figure began emerging from Naruto's chakra. Danzo stepped backward. What is that? Naruto gritted his teeth. I don't know. The figure's face began forming. One eye opened. Naruto stared. The same eye he had seen in his mind. The mysterious intruder. The figure smiled. At last. Its voice echoed through the forest. The seal is weakening. Kurama roared. No. Naruto's chakra exploded. The figure was pushed back. But it didn't disappear. Instead, it laughed. You have no idea what your father sealed inside you. Naruto froze. My father. The figure smiled. Ask Minato. Naruto's expression changed. He's dead. Exactly. The figure vanished back into the seal. The black mark disappeared. Silence returned. Danzo stared at Naruto. For the first time, the old shinobi looked genuinely unsettled. Naruto breathed heavily. He looked at his stomach. Then toward Danzo. Do you know what that was? Danzo shook his head. No. Naruto narrowed his eyes. You're lying. Danzo didn't answer. Naruto stepped toward him. Tell me. Danzo stared at him. I don't know. Naruto's expression remained suspicious. Then Danzo said something unexpected. But I know someone who might. Naruto stopped. Who? Danzo smiled. Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes widened. The name sent a warning through every instinct he possessed. Orochimaru. A genius. A scientist. A missing nin. Someone obsessed with immortality and forbidden techniques. Someone who might know about Naruto's seal. Danzo turned away. If you want the truth. He looked over his shoulder. Find him. Then he disappeared. Naruto remained standing. Kurama spoke inside his mind. Don't trust him. I know. Yin Kurama added. Orochimaru is dangerous. Naruto nodded. But if he knows what is inside my seal. Yang Kurama interrupted. Then we'll find another way. Naruto looked toward the sky. No. His eyes became determined. I need answers. The next morning, Naruto made a decision that would completely alter his future. He would leave Konoha. Not forever. Not as a missing nin. But for training. He needed to understand his power before the darkness inside his seal awakened again. And there was only one person he could think of who might help him master the balance between yin and yang chakra. Jiraiya. Naruto had heard stories about the legendary Sannin. But he didn't know where Jiraiya was. So he needed to find him. At the same time, far away from Konoha, a pale man with golden eyes opened his eyes. Orochimaru smiled. So, he looked at a strange scroll containing information about Naruto. The complete 9 Tails is awakening. A shadow stood behind him. Should we capture the boy? Orochimaru shook his head. No, he smiled. I want to see what he becomes. The shadow asked. And if he becomes uncontrollable? Orochimaru's smile widened. Then, he looked toward Konoha. We will learn from him. Meanwhile, Naruto stood before the gates of Konoha. He carried a small backpack. His forehead protector was tied around his head. His eyes were determined. Inside his mind, both halves of Kurama stood beside him. Young Kurama asked, Are you sure? Naruto nodded. I have to go. Yin Kurama looked at him. You may not like what you discover. Naruto smiled. Maybe. He looked back at Konoha. But I can't protect this village if I don't understand the power inside me. Quote. Naruto turned toward the road. His first destination was unknown. His next teacher was unknown. His enemy was unknown. And the secret hidden inside his seal remained unanswered. But Naruto had already changed one thing that no one could undo. The complete 9 Tails was no longer simply a monster sealed inside a child. It was becoming Naruto's greatest ally. And Naruto was becoming something the shinobi world had never seen before. A Jinchuriki who could wield both sides of Kurama without losing himself. A shinobi capable of yin-yang chakra. A child whose potential could rival the legends of the past. But as Naruto walked away from Konoha, a figure watched him from the trees. The masked man. He smiled. Good. Another figure appeared beside him. He's leaving the village. The masked man nodded. Exactly as planned. Should we follow? No. Why? The masked man looked toward Naruto's retreating figure. Because the next person he meets will change everything. The second figure frowned. Who? The masked man smiled. Jiraiya. And somewhere inside Naruto's mind, both halves of Kurama suddenly became silent. Naruto noticed. What? Young Kurama stared into the darkness. Yin Kurama's eyes narrowed. Naruto waited. Finally, Yin Kurama whispered. Someone just entered the village. Who? Young Kurama looked toward the distant horizon. Someone whose chakra we haven't felt in years. Naruto stopped walking. Who? The nine tails answered together. Madara. Naruto's eyes widened. And far behind him, hidden in the shadows of Konoha, an old man with long black hair opened his eyes. He smiled. Naruto Uzumaki. His voice was barely a whisper. Let's see what happens when the child carrying my greatest enemy's power walks into the world. Quote. The real story was about to begin. Writing. Naruto stopped in the middle of the road. For several seconds, he didn't move. The forest around him was completely silent. Even the birds seemed to have disappeared. Inside his mind, both halves of Kurama were staring toward the same direction. Naruto swallowed. Madara. Young Kurama's ears lowered. We're not certain. Naruto frowned. You just said his name. Yin Kurama spoke calmly. We said that the chakra signature resembles his. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Resembles. Yes. Then it could be someone else. Exactly. Naruto looked back toward Konoha. The village was already far behind him. A cold feeling traveled through his body. If someone possessing chakra similar to Madara was really nearby, then leaving Konoha alone might have been the worst possible decision. But Naruto couldn't return yet. Not until he understood what was happening. He turned back toward the road. I'm finding Jiraiya first. Young Kurama smiled. Good. Naruto continued walking. He didn't notice the faint shadow moving across the trees above him. Someone was following. Someone who had been watching him since the moment he left Konoha. But Naruto wasn't completely unaware. He could feel a presence. He simply didn't know where it was. After several hours of walking, Naruto reached a small village. He entered a restaurant and sat in the corner. The waiter looked at him. Kid, are you alone? Naruto smiled. Yeah, where are your parents? Naruto's smile faded slightly. They're not around. The waiter noticed the change in his expression and didn't ask anything else. Naruto ordered ramen. While eating, he listened to the conversations around him. Two shinobi were discussing a famous wandering ninja. Jiraiya-sama was seen near the land of rivers. Again, apparently he's searching for information. Quote. Naruto's ears immediately perked up. Jiraiya. The shinobi looked toward him. Naruto quickly returned to his food. They continued talking. Yeah, the toad sage. He'll probably disappear again. Naruto smiled. He finally had a direction. After finishing his meal, he left the village. But he hadn't gone more than a kilometer when a kunai landed in front of him. Naruto stopped. 3 shinobi appeared. Bandanas. Weapons. Missing nin. One of them smiled. Hand over your money. Naruto looked at them. Seriously. The man frowned. What's funny? I was expecting something more interesting. The 3 attacked. Naruto sighed. He didn't even use Kurama's chakra. 1 punch. 1 kick. 1 shadow clone. The 3 shinobi were unconscious within seconds. Naruto continued walking. Inside his mind, young Kurama laughed. You didn't even try. Quote. I don't need to. Yin Kurama nodded. Your physical abilities have improved significantly. Naruto smiled. Thanks. Don't become arrogant. You're starting to sound like Kakashi. Young Kurama laughed. Several hours later, Naruto reached a forest. He stopped. There was something strange in the air. A familiar chakra. Naruto closed his eyes. He sensed carefully. One chakra signature was enormous but controlled. Another was hidden. And another. Naruto's eyes widened. Jiraiya. A figure stepped from behind a tree. White hair. Red markings. Large scroll on his back. The legendary Sannin smiled. Well, he looked Naruto up and down. You've got some interesting chakra. Naruto stared at him. You're Jiraiya, right? The Sannin raised an eyebrow. You know me. I've heard stories. Jiraiya smiled. Good stories, I hope. Naruto shrugged. Some. Naruto smiled. Let's just say you have a reputation. Jiraiya laughed. You're an interesting kid. Naruto became serious. I need your help. Jiraiya's expression changed. With what? My seal. The smile disappeared from Jiraiya's face. Who told you to ask me? Nobody. Jiraiya studied Naruto. You know what's inside you. Both halves of Kurama. Jiraiya's eyes widened. Both. Naruto nodded. Jiraiya slowly walked around him. That's impossible. Apparently not. Jiraiya placed 2 fingers against Naruto's stomach. His expression changed instantly. He felt the chakra. Not 1 presence. 2. Balanced. Yin and yang. Jiraiya stepped backward. Minato. Naruto looked at him. You knew my father. Jiraiya became quiet. Yes. Then tell me about him. Jiraiya looked away. Your father was a brilliant man. Quote. Naruto smiled. I know. He believed in peace. I know. He believed in you. Naruto froze. What? Jiraiya looked at him. Minato believed that you could change the shinobi world. Naruto's eyes softened. Why? Because he believed you would inherit something more important than power. What? His will. Naruto looked down. Jiraiya sighed. Your father knew that the world was broken. Then why did he put Kurama inside me? Quote. Because he believed you could control what he couldn't. Naruto's eyes narrowed. But why both halves? Jiraiya didn't answer. Naruto stepped closer. Jiraiya. The Sannin looked at him. Why are you avoiding the question? Quote. Jiraiya sighed. Because I don't know. Naruto stared. You don't know. Jiraiya sat beneath a tree. Minato never told me that the ceiling would change. Naruto sat opposite him. Then who changed it? Quote. Jiraiya looked into Naruto's eyes. That's the question. Silence. Then Naruto asked. Do you know anything about a 3rd presence? Jiraiya's expression immediately changed. What did you say? Something is inside my seal. Quote. Jiraiya stood. Explain. Naruto told him everything. The black mark. The shadow. The mysterious chakra. The voice. Jiraiya's face became increasingly serious. When Naruto finished, Jiraiya whispered. This is bad. How bad? Very. Jiraiya took out a sealing scroll. He studied Naruto's seal from a distance. This isn't just Minato's work. Naruto's eyes widened. What? There are layers here that I don't recognize. Quote. Jiraiya pointed toward Naruto's stomach. Minato's formula is underneath. Underneath what? Something older. Naruto's expression hardened. Can you remove it? Jiraiya shook his head. Not safely. Quote. Then what can we do? We need to understand it first. Naruto sighed. That's what everyone keeps saying. Jiraiya smiled faintly. Because you're dealing with something that even the greatest sealing masters might not understand. Quote. Naruto looked at him. Then train me. Jiraiya blinked. What? I need to control Kurama. You already can. No. Naruto shook his head. I can use his chakra. He touched his stomach. But I don't understand it. Quote. Jiraiya smiled. You're asking me to train a Jinchuriki. Yes. Why me? Because you're the only person I know who can help. Jiraiya laughed. You've got confidence. Naruto smiled. Will you do it? Quote. Jiraiya stared at him. Then he nodded. Fine. Naruto smiled. But we're starting tomorrow. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. Tomorrow. Yes. You don't want to rest. No. Jiraiya laughed. You're definitely Minato's son. Quote. Naruto paused. Did he train like this? Jiraiya smiled. Worse. Naruto grinned. Then let's start. The next morning, Jiraiya began Naruto's training. The first lesson was simple. Don't use Kurama's chakra. Quote. Naruto frowned. What? You're too dependent on it. Naruto crossed his arms. But that's the whole point. No. Jiraiya shook his head. The whole point is that Kurama is part of your power, not all of it. Quote. Naruto nodded. Fine. The first exercise was chakra control. Naruto had to walk across a tree without using any Kurama chakra. It was easy. Then Jiraiya increased the difficulty. He placed seals around the tree. The seals disrupted Naruto's chakra. Naruto stumbled. Again. Naruto tried. Again. 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 He fell dozens of times. But he didn't complain. Jiraiya watched carefully. By sunset, Naruto was exhausted. He sat beneath the tree. Why is this so difficult? Jiraiya smiled. Because you're used to having an enormous reserve. Naruto looked at his hands. I need to be able to fight without Kurama. Exactly. Quote. Jiraiya nodded. Because one day, someone may seal him away. Naruto's expression became serious. That won't happen. Don't be arrogant. Jiraiya's voice became firm. Always prepare for the possibility that your greatest weapon will be unavailable. Quote. Naruto nodded. The next lesson was sensing. Jiraiya blindfolded Naruto. Find me. Naruto stood still. He sensed the forest, birds, animals, trees, wind, water. Jiraiya's chakra. Naruto found him. There. Quote. Jiraiya moved. Naruto pointed. There. Jiraiya moved again. Naruto smiled. Behind me. Jiraiya attacked. Naruto ducked. Jiraiya smiled. Good. Naruto removed the blindfold. That was easy. Jiraiya shook his head. You haven't learned anything yet. He snapped his fingers. The entire forest filled with chakra disturbances. Naruto's senses became overwhelmed. He fell to one knee. What did you do? Multiple chakra signatures. Quote. Naruto struggled. Jiraiya continued. Learn to distinguish hostile chakra from natural chakra. Naruto closed his eyes. He focused. One by one, the disturbances faded. Then he felt something. A tiny chakra signature. Hidden. Far away. Naruto pointed. Someone is watching us. Jiraiya's smile disappeared. Where? North. Jiraiya immediately disappeared. Seconds later, he returned carrying a masked shinobi. The shinobi struggled. Who sent you? No answer. Jiraiya removed the mask. Naruto recognized the symbol. Root. Naruto sighed. Danzo. The shinobi remained silent. Jiraiya looked at Naruto. Why would Root follow you this far? Quote. Naruto's expression hardened. Because they want Kurama. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed. Both halves. Naruto nodded. Exactly. Jiraiya looked at the Root operative. Danzo is becoming reckless. Naruto asked. Do you know why? Jiraiya hesitated. Because your power isn't just dangerous. What do you mean? Your chakra has the potential to create. Naruto remembered the wooden branch. Would release. Jiraiya nodded. Maybe. Naruto frowned. But that's not all. Jiraiya looked at him. Your yin-yang chakra is unusual. How unusual? Potentially comparable to the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto froze. Inside his mind, both halves of Kurama became completely silent. Jiraiya continued. I'm not saying you're anywhere near his level. Naruto nodded. But your chakra combination resembles something ancient. Naruto looked at his hands. What? Creation through yin-yang release. Quote. Naruto remembered the mysterious shadow. The black mark. The voice. The night of his birth. Everything seemed connected. Jiraiya noticed his expression. What are you thinking? Naruto looked at him. I think someone planned this. Jiraiya's face became serious. Explain. Both halves of Kurama were sealed inside me. Naruto raised one finger. Something else was hidden inside the seal. Another finger. Someone attacked Konoha the night I was born. Another. Danzo knows about my abilities. Another. And someone with unknown chakra entered my mind. Naruto's eyes hardened. That's too many coincidences. Quote. Jiraiya stared at him. You think your birth was planned? I think someone wanted me to become what I am. Jiraiya remained silent. Then he said something that made Naruto's blood run cold. Then we need to find out who. Quote. Far away, in an underground chamber. A man sat before a wall covered with seals. One seal glowed. It showed Naruto. The man placed his hand against it. He's beginning to understand. A second figure stood nearby. Should we activate the next stage? The man shook his head. Not yet. Why? Because Naruto has just found Jiraiya. The figure frowned. Is that a problem? The man smiled. Jiraiya is dangerous. Then kill him. Quote. No. The man stood. We need Jiraiya alive. Why? Because he will lead Naruto to the truth. The second figure looked confused. And that's what you want? The man smiled. Exactly. Back at the training ground, Naruto suddenly felt a strange pressure. He turned toward the forest. Something's coming. Jiraiya looked around. I don't sense anything. Naruto closed his eyes. It's there. A cold wind passed through the trees. Then a voice echoed, "Naruto Uzumaki." Quote, Jiraiya immediately entered combat stance. "Who's there?" A figure stepped out of the darkness. Long black cloak, red clouds. Naruto's eyes widened. "Akatsuki." Jiraiya's expression became serious. "Get behind me." Naruto shook his head. "No." Jiraiya looked at him. "They're here for me." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "No." He pointed toward the figure. "They're here for me." The Akatsuki member removed his hood. It was not Itachi, not Kisame, someone Naruto had never seen before. A strange smile appeared on the man's face. "We have been searching for you." Naruto's chakra began rising. Jiraiya whispered, "Who are you?" Quote, the man smiled. "Someone who knows what your seal really contains." Naruto froze. Jiraiya looked at him. The stranger continued, "The complete 9 tails." He pointed toward Naruto, and the sleeping power beneath it. Quote, Naruto's eyes narrowed. "What do you want?" The stranger's smile widened. "We don't want to kill you." He paused. "We want to awaken you." The moment he said those words, the black mark on Naruto's stomach appeared again. Both halves of Kurama roared. "No." Naruto fell to one knee. The forest shook. Jiraiya rushed toward him. "Naruto." Naruto looked up. His eyes had changed. One was golden. The other was dark purple. A third pattern began forming across his forehead. The stranger smiled. "Perfect." Jiraiya's expression turned horrified. "What have you done?" The stranger laughed. "Nothing." He stepped backward. "His seal is reacting on its own." Naruto screamed. The chakra around him exploded. Trees were uprooted. The ground cracked. Jiraiya was thrown backward. Kurama's 2 halves appeared behind Naruto's consciousness. Young Kurama shouted, "Control yourself." Yin Kurama roared, "Naruto, don't let it take over." Quote, Naruto struggled. "What is happening?" A voice answered from the darkness. "The power of creation." The mysterious shadow appeared again. "Is awakening." Naruto stared at it. "You." The shadow smiled. Finally, Naruto's chakra exploded. Jiraiya watched helplessly. "Naruto." The stranger from Akatsuki began laughing. "This is exactly what we wanted." Jiraiya stood. "You'll kill him." The stranger shook his head. "No." He smiled. "We're going to make him stronger." Naruto's eyes glowed brighter. The ground beneath him began turning green. Roots spread in every direction. Trees erupted from the earth. A massive wooden structure began forming behind him. Jiraiya stared in disbelief. Wood release. But this was different. The wood wasn't merely growing. It was absorbing chakra from everything around it. The forest itself was responding to Naruto. The Akatsuki member stepped backward. "Beautiful." Jiraiya shouted. "Naruto, stop." Naruto couldn't hear him. Inside his mind, the 2 halves of Kurama stood before the black barrier. Behind it, something was waking up. Yin Kurama stared at Naruto. "You must choose." Naruto struggled. "Choose what?" Yang Kurama answered. "Us." He pointed toward the 2 halves. "Or it." Naruto looked toward the shadow. Then toward Kurama. He remembered his parents. He remembered Konoha. He remembered Sasuke. He remembered every person who had treated him like a monster. Then he remembered the promise he had made. He wouldn't become a weapon. Naruto slowly stood. His chakra stabilized. The golden and purple energies began merging. The roots stopped spreading. The mysterious shadow screamed, "No." Naruto opened his eyes. "I choose myself." A massive burst of yin-yang chakra erupted. The black barrier shattered. The shadow disappeared. The entire forest went silent. Naruto collapsed. Jiraiya caught him before he hit the ground. "Naruto." The Akatsuki member stared in shock. "He broke the seal." Jiraiya looked at him. "What?" The stranger smiled nervously. "Not the way we expected." Then he disappeared into the trees. Jiraiya wanted to follow, but Naruto was unconscious. He looked down at the boy. "What exactly are you, Naruto?" Quote, inside Naruto's mind, Kurama stood silently. The 2 halves were no longer separated. For the first time, their chakra was flowing together naturally. Young Kurama smiled. He's done it. Yin Kurama nodded. He's balanced us. A tiny golden purple light appeared between them. Naruto's consciousness approached. What happened? Yang Kurama smiled. You stopped fighting yourself. Naruto looked at the light. What is that? Yin Kurama answered. Your true power. Naruto reached toward it. The moment his hand touched the light, a vision appeared. A man. Long white hair. A horned forehead. 6 paths robes. A familiar pair of eyes. Naruto froze. The man looked directly at him. You carry the power of both halves of the 9 tails. Naruto stared. Who are you? The man smiled. My name is Hagoromo. Naruto's eyes widened. The sage of 6 paths. Hagoromo nodded. But I am not here to give you power. Naruto frowned. Then why are you here? Hagoromo's expression became serious. To warn you. About what? Hagoromo looked toward the darkness. Your enemies are not the ones you think. Naruto remained silent. Hagoromo continued. Madara is not your greatest threat. Then who is? Hagoromo's expression darkened. The person who altered your seal. Quote. Naruto froze. Who? Hagoromo looked directly into his eyes. Someone who has been waiting for your birth for centuries. The vision began fading. Naruto shouted. Wait. Hagoromo disappeared. Naruto opened his eyes. He was lying beside the forest. Jiraiya sat nearby. The sun was rising. Naruto slowly sat up. Jiraiya looked relieved. You're awake. Naruto nodded. Jiraiya. I saw someone. Who? Naruto stared at the sky. The sage of 6 paths. Jiraiya's eyes widened. What did he say? Naruto's expression became serious. He said the person who altered my seal has been waiting for my birth for centuries. Jiraiya stood. Centuries. Naruto nodded. And he said Madara isn't my greatest threat. Jiraiya became silent. Then Naruto looked toward the forest. His eyes hardened. Someone planned my birth. Jiraiya looked at him. And now, Naruto slowly stood. Quote. I'm going to find out why. Far away, hidden beneath the earth, the mysterious masked man watched the entire scene through a seal. He smiled. So Hagoromo has finally spoken to him. Quote. A voice behind him asked. Should we continue? The masked man nodded. Yes. What is the next stage? The man looked at the image of Naruto. Make him meet Sasuke. The other figure frowned. Why Sasuke? Quote. The masked man smiled. Because Naruto carries both halves of Kurama. He looked toward the darkness. And Sasuke carries the bloodline of the other half of the legend. His smile widened. Uchiha. The next stage of the plan had begun. Naruto didn't know it yet. But his meeting with Sasuke would soon unlock a connection between 2 bloodlines that had shaped the entire shinobi world. Senju, Uchiha, Uzumaki, Kurama, and the ancient power of yin and yang. The future was no longer following the original path. It was becoming something far more dangerous. And this time, Naruto was at the center of it all.